that since closed, so that's going to be demolished. Yeah, it's going to be demolished in a couple of months. So those kind of the other side of Sheffield. I would say to somebody who comes to Sheffield,
Auckland,
get out of Sheffield. That sounds great. Go to the. It's got beautiful countryside around it. So get 10 minutes on a bus, and you're amongst kind of not really mountains, but very kind of impressive hills. I mean, I know you've got enough sheep in New Zealand already, but there are a lot of sheep grazing up there, and it's just quite impressive. A lot of cows and stuff like that. In Sheffield itself, I don't know. You go to a club, I suppose. Go to somewhere like the Leadenhall. That's a music venue that's been going since the beginning of April. Still have quite interesting things on there, and just try and get talking to somebody, and then you'll have an adventure like Habitat when you came to Sheffield. Hello.
Did you hear that now? What did you think of? What are your favourite UK bands?
What ones that are going now? Contemporary bands. I'll do a mixture of bands. Of bands that are going at the moment, I quite like, for something noisy, I quite like the Parma Violet. For something kind of calm, which I tend to sort of like, I like Baxter Dury as well, Ian Dury's son. I like the music that he makes. I don't tend to classify the music as to where it comes from, really. I heard some music there's a guy called Harvey. He's a DJ. He's called DJ Harvey, not to be confused with PJ Harvey. He's DJ Harvey, and I heard some music that he's just done. A record called Wildest Dreams, and that's pretty interesting. I don't know, I'm very bad at these kind of list things. I'll have to get back to you on that one later.
What goes through your mind when you're dancing, Jabs?
Well, that really depends who I'm dancing with. A lot of things can go through your mind when you're dancing with someone. Like, is this dance going to go on? Can we get into a little bit of private dancing in a short while? It's a bit like what I say in the film, really. The thing that I like about dancing is that it's kind of pointless, and in doing it, you can kind of empty your head of thoughts, and you just kind of react to the beat, and so you kind of get in touch with the physical side of yourself, which I'm not naturally like that, I've got glasses, I read a lot of books and stuff, and so I can get a bit stuck inside my own head sometimes, and so I really like the opportunity to kind of get out, not literally get out of my head, but just to feel a bit physical, that I'm a physical being in a physical world. So if I'm dancing and having a good time and it's a good DJ and a good disco, then absolutely nothing will be going through my mind except, feeling the beat and trying to keep in time with it. You've made me want to go to a disco now. But it's a bit early. It's only midday here, so I don't think disco's going at midday here in London.
Cool. Yeah. Do you think a band like Pulp could succeed these days?
Well, people say a lot of things about the way that they reckon the music business has changed.
I suppose the thing about Pulp was that we always wanted to be a group. I don't know if that comes through in the film, that it was important to us to kind of have chart success. I guess because we'd been brought up with the charts, and there was a programme in the UK called Top of the Pops. I don't know if that made it down to New Zealand, but it would just play the chart records of the week, no matter who it was, if it was a disco group or a heavy rock group. Everybody was the same. It was just, if they were in the charts, they got played on it. And somehow the charts, when I was growing up, seemed to be like it was like an interest, like people, like, you know, like it was like a hobby. People were really into it. Like they'd follow the charts and they'd follow whether records went up or went down. It was almost like being into horse racing or something like that. So I was brought up with that culture. So the idea of being in the charts and being on the radio and your songs becoming part of the fabric of everyday life was very exciting, and that was a lot to do with what Pulp tried to do. You know, that was a point of trying to get details about normal everyday life into songs, because then the songs would go out and become part of everyday life, and that seemed like a great thing. Now, I don't know whether now people are so bothered about the charts. I'm not, but that might be just because I'm an old person now. But for instance, the programme Top of the Pops, it doesn't exist here in the UK anymore. There just seems to be lots of different charts now, like, you know, adult, alternative, R&B, you know, everything's got kind of split into various things, download chart, dubstep chart probably as well. So there isn't that kind of collective fascination with the charts, and so maybe a group like Pulp that wanted to make a statement in that way wouldn't exist. I'm not saying whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, but it's just that the circumstances have changed, really. I think basically we're a relic from a bygone era.
Oh, thanks. Do you like any New Zealand music, Jarvis?
Yeah, I was listening actually to something just the other day. I know stuff like the Chills, they're from New Zealand, aren't they? And then I was listening, somebody played me some old New Zealand music, a kind of a group from the 60s called Chance R&B, and I think they're quite obscure, but they did a really good version of a Van Morrison song called One, Two Brown Eyes. And I'd never heard them before, and I just got into that like 2 weeks ago. Yeah, I do like, and of course Split Ends, I liked them back in my childhood. Yeah, I do like some New Zealand music, yes.
One last question, yeah.
Okay.
Ah, yeah. How did having the film crew involved add or change to the last concert in Sheffield, if it changed it or not?
Well, I have to say, actually, that was one thing that I was very pleasantly surprised about, because it can be very, very off-putting when you know you're being filmed. The main thing that happens when they film festivals, for instance, is they have like a camera on a crane that's then on like a train track, and it goes like. And if you can imagine, if you're a singer, me, and you're trying to sing to the audience, and then all the time in front of you is this thing going, and eventually, instead of singing to the audience, you start kind of going like this, and you're kind of watching this thing, and it's horrible. It's like being at a tennis match. So there was none of that.
So we lost you for 5 seconds, Jarvis.
Oh, right. You got that bit though, didn't you? Yeah. So, I was saying, I was very pleased. I wasn't aware of the cameras being there at all, and I think that makes a big difference. You know, I don't know how we hid them, or whether it was just people filming things on the phone or whatever. But it made a big difference because then it's like a real performance. It's not like in any way put on for the cameras, because I think even, I'm not saying you do put stuff on for cameras if you can see them, but I think just subconsciously, if you're aware of them, it adds a level of self-consciousnly, which wasn't there. So I was very pleased about that. It was a kind of invisible shoot, which I was very grateful for.
Cool, thanks everyone. Smiling faces, Jarvis.
Okay, good.
Cool. Yeah. Well,
Bye.
he can only hear.
No, I can hear a little bit, so I can't see you. But I'm imagining. Florian sent me a picture of the theatre, so I know that you're in a very beautiful place. So I guess I'm going to be going in a minute. So I just want to say thank you for turning out and watching the film. Thanks to Florian for making the film, and yeah, night, and sleep tight, don't let the bugs bite.